So I've got some messages on TikTok tonight. A few guys that they're not bad guys. They just have bad experiences. They say, those guys going to trade school and stuff like that, man, they're worthless. Man, those guys going to trade school, all the hype and everything else about get a trade school guy, get a trade school guy, and they come out thinking they know everything. Man, I've seen so many guys that were working at the shop and at the dealership when I was working at the dealership or at the shop that come from UTI and Wild Tech and Lincoln Tech. Man, they were worthless. Really. I'm from UTI. Yeah. Spent about 7 or 8 years in the field. Went to school. Veteran. So a lot of these guys that are in these shops that come out that are veterans. They've watched their fathers and stuff, their uncles, their aunts and everything do hard labor and work on mechanical things their whole entire life, and they just want a chance. You know the best thing to do when you get a young guy that is trying, he wants to learn, you know the best thing to do is try to train that person up. If they're hard-headed and they don't want to listen, have you ever thought maybe their family life isn't that great? Maybe they're having a hard time paying the bills. Maybe the reason that they went to school and they're in the industry is to make a change so they could provide for their family better. Have you ever thought about that stuff? Have you ever thought about a young man that wants to get into the field because he never had a father and he wants to do some manly things in his life? Manly things in his life. And that's the reason why he's doing what he's doing, is to do something, to make himself feel complete, to make himself feel like he's worth something, to be part of the industry, to be part of the world, to be a taxpayer, to feel like he's a contributor. You guys ever think about that stuff? Do you ever think about that guy that's worthless, that's in the shop, that's never had any kind of structure, that maybe he has an only parent, so he's never had anybody show him how to be a man? I know that's not your job to do that type of stuff, but have you ever thought about that? Because I've worked in the field with those young guys. I've worked in the field with them that just need somebody to say, hey, it's gonna be all right, man. It's gonna be all right. Just stick by me. Let me teach you. Let me show you things that maybe you've never been shown before. There's a shop full of men right here that have been doing this for 20, 30, 40 years. Some of them are going to be grumpy. Some of them are going to be distasteful. Some of them are not going to like you and they're not going to teach you. But that's okay. They've earned that right. But there are people that will. There are people that understand. There are people that do know. So before you judge a book by its cover, maybe there's some empathy that needs to be had. Maybe there's some discipline in your own era or in your own space that needs to be had to understand what's going on with that young man before. I had a young apprentice that came into the shop when I was a foreman, and the two other guys that were in the shop, they were senior guys. They didn't like him. They thought he was too green, he was too young. They didn't want to show him, they didn't want to teach him anything, and they just didn't want to put the time into him. You know who did? Me. And he was annoying. He talked a lot. He would never shut up. He would always interrupt when I was talking. He would always give me his ideas before I was even finished telling him what was going on. And that's one of the things we hate the most, is when you're trying to teach some young guy that's never had experience. It's because they have ideas. A lot of them have ADHD. A lot of them have things going on where there's 1,000 things rushing through their mind at one time, where they're getting all these ideas and stuff. That's not necessarily a bad thing. That's your job to reset that. Give him a chance to understand that he may be going through some things that caused him to be that way. You're not a babysitter, but you can be a mentor. You can be an impact in that guy's life to maybe make him wake up and realize, you know what I did? Hey buddy, I get that you have a lot of ideas right now, but I've been doing this stuff for 20 years. Stop. Let me explain to you. You have ideas, and those ideas are not bad, but I want you to do these things my way for a little bit, and once I feel comfortable with you repetitiously doing things this way for a little bit, I'm more than willing to open up and say, make those adjustments as you see fit. Give me a year, give me 2 years of your time where you're really trying to push and you're trying to show me that you can do it my way. And I'm more than okay. Give me 6 months. And when I see that you can do this job and you can do it correctly and you can do it proficiently, then let's start opening up those doors of maybe you have your own little trick here and there. Maybe you have your own little way of taking this off or putting that back on that's a little bit better than mine. Maybe I'll learn from you. Maybe you do see things differently than me because your outlook on life is completely different than me. Maybe I can learn from you, and I just don't know it yet. Maybe I need to let go of some of that ego myself, and I need to realize that there may be something in this young man or young woman that I haven't seen from somebody else that can actually teach me. Leaving comments like guys out of trade school are a waste of time. Just some guy earlier said, find an independent tire shop or something to go to. Find a tire chain that has an apprentice level program where you can work your way up inside that tire chain. There's nothing wrong with that, and I have no qualm with people doing that. Where are you going to go from there unless it's absolutely 100% credible benefits? Where are you going to go from there? Let's face it, most of us know that corporate world, dealer group world, big, huge independent chains, franchises and stuff like that are typically where people end up, unless they end up in a really nice specialty shop with an independent shop that specializes in certain things. Technicians out there, men out there, my elders out there, mentors to me out there, I would urge you to open your heart and open your mind and realize that your feelings and what you're going through in your life is not the only thing out there. They're going through stuff too. And realize that you may end up learning something from this young man or young woman. And if they don't show any change, if they don't show any of that stubbornness that's being released where you can actually train them, or if you don't think you can actually break through and there's nobody else to do that, then maybe it is best to recommend they go somewhere else so they're not wasting your time and wasting their time, and believe it or not, the little bit of abuse that they may be taking and not realizing, or that you're putting out and not realizing, and I don't mean that in a necessary negative way, is holding them back. That maybe they could go somewhere else where they could find somebody like me that is a little bit more passionate and understanding, that has went through some rough times in life, that has went through life without a mother or a father. And you're not just a mentor to them. Sometimes you could become a super respectable role model to them, almost like the father figure or the mother figure, depending on if you're a female or male technician, that they never had. Y'all be blessed. Thank you.